the reality is that there's a lot of people who are looking for something and they've clung to something. And guess what? The gaming space, I said this the other night, the gaming space it was the first to adopt it. It'll be the last to get rid of it.
We're going to take this billion-dollar intellectual property called Assassin's Creed. Or we're going to take this billion-dollar intellectual property, that is Naughty Dog Studios and all the goodwill they've built, and think, hey, we've reached a point now, and we can try to change society or find the modern audience. We don't want to cater to the old men anymore. This is for the new generation. They ain't there. They all left. They're gone.
Renegade Online.
Naughty Dog Studios, with their new game, Intergalactic, we're seeing the repetition of the same new meme. The shaven-headed, bald, lesbian protagonist. This is a thing now. And this is from the game studio that made Last of Us, which everybody adored. Last of Us Part 2, not so much. Because of what? What did they do in that one?
Hardcore LGBTQ.
Yes.
Well, Craig and I actually streamed this together with a bunch of people. Hypnotic and Madame Savvy, Kirsha, and Yellow Flash showed up too. And it was kind of comical how unanimous we all felt right when they cut to her shaving her head. And we're just like, here we go. Like, we're all like, this is it. Now, this is something that was in development for 4 years. 2020 was when it started. And you look back to 2020, that's basically people have unanimously agreed that that's basically the start of the peak. Sorry, not the start. The peak of the DEI movement.
Yes.
The George Floyd stuff, the Black Lives Matter, all that stuff was transpiring during that point in time. And this is one of the problems with game development is it takes years to make a game, and they're trying to pander to their own ideologies, thinking that this is the future, and they are now needing to swallow a very large pill that might destroy their studio because of that decision.
There's tremendous pushback right now. Just the initial response to this game has just been like, oh, again? And the thing that you're seeing from people who, your Axis media are like, this is so stunning and brave. You see that? And then the other response is, why do they just want to have sex with all the video game characters, talking about everybody like that, everybody who's critical of this? And that's not it at all. It represents something that is, it goes back to Concord, right? And I use this analogy all the time. When I was growing up, we would look at video game magazines or the back of a box, right? That was our first impression of the game. Now you see a trailer, that's your first impression. And naturally, look, video games are meant to be a way to escape. They're not supposed to tell you about the problems of today and pronouns and she, her, and they, thems, and ze, thems, and all that stuff, right? So when you play these games, you want to escape. And the people who are developing these games, they want to inject this stuff into it. And so when you see a character like this, it's not that, oh man, she's not hot. No, it's not that at all. It's, oh man, here we go again. And it's just a symptom because, but and that's just it. People are not dumb. They see patterns, they see trends, and the audience, the customer, the gamer
themselves, a noticer.
Well, everybody is. The customers are noticers, right? But the problem is that the game industry, to Smash's point, moves so slow. It takes such a long time. So if they wanted to run, and like this game's been in development for 4 years, they had to go back and rework the entire game based off of the unequivocal denial of everything in 2024. The amount of failures that people have seen based off of the look and feel of characters like this. It would take, they would have to go back to the drawing board on character designs.
Well, can I interrupt real quick?
Please.
And just, I would almost argue with Neil Druckmann in charge of it, that if they could start all over again, knowing the future, he would fight to make sure it stays exactly what it is right now. So at that point, you start to wonder about the people in charge of the studios and what they're trying to do with their own ideologies.
I think you
we've
have
been
a
watching
point.
for the past 4 years is basically the corporate mandated eradication of beauty, right? So that's what these people are after. They hate the feminine form, and they loathe anything that is attractive. They hate art. They hate beautiful things, and so that's why
Is that why they hate me so much?
Oh, that's what your hairline. I told you about that, man. You got to get rid of it. You need to shave in male pattern baldness. They'll leave you right alone. You won't have a problem.
Right.
With them. But this is their worship of ugly, right? And they hate things that are beautiful. And so, down the road there may be a time to begin debating, like, okay, well, if you for all the sides who agree beautiful things are good and we should aim for that and we should aspire for aesthetically pleasing things, like what are the boundaries there? But I don't think that we have vanquished those who aspire to destroy art and beauty and pleasantness and all of that. I don't think they're vanquished at all, and I think this game is further proof of it, except that if the marketplace is allowed to do what the marketplace does, these things will absolutely burn out and be gone in the next 2 years. I hope so.
Well, that's my point, is that to that end, because we're about to draw a very, very strong parallel here between what's going on here and what Disney, or at least their actors, and let's throw Wicked's folks in there too, love to engage in, right? With the Acolyte, we had to hear that it was going to be the gayest Star Wars ever. It was going to be so gay. The gayness was going to be off the scene. Everything was about gay for the Acolyte. And we played the clips. Have to
be ugly?
Well, that's part of it too. But the point is that, like, this is that constant messaging, right? And then we got the Dragon Age, the Veil Guard thing. I'll play the clip again to remind everybody. Again, the thing that we just had up on the screen that D. Bud Martin and Craig were begging me to never show again. This is the game that it came from.
Here, vegetables. Thank you. So, I'm non-binary.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
So, okay, that's actual something. Now, this is my point. Here's the pattern. The young lady who is, I believe, I'm about to play a clip. Y'all probably seen this. The voice actress for this character, right? I think I got this from Grums, if I'm not mistaken. So here we go.
And then as far as with non-binary and transgender, I hope that we just start seeing that the future is here whether we like it or not. We need to not just accept it, but embrace it. Embracing something and seeing not only the beauty of it in it, but the way that it contributes to the world and contributes into the way that anybody of any gender, race, creed, color can form their identity and can walk through the world with pride and their chin up high, like, I think is so important for the generation coming behind it.
Hey, real quick, and I said this on my video covering that, the whole, it's real important for the generation coming behind us is the only thing that really stuck out to me there was the whole coming for the kids thing. It's like they can't help themselves. It's so psycho.
There's a word for that.
Then you see, I'll do the YouTube friendly and say coming for your kids. Yeah. But there's clearly, in my unprofessional, humble opinion, a severe mental illness going on just based off of what she's wearing and how she dolled herself up there. There's a lot going on with that person. And the problem with society is, I'm going to sound like such a dad right now, is people are putting these people in positions to speak to people, and people are impressionable listening to them. And they're like, oh, this is how I should think. This is who I should be like. And it's not good for the direction of society at all.
No, and everybody on this panel is a dad, so there's no need to apologize for it. But I mean, no, look, you're right. I won't play this whole clip, but well, it seems the Walt Disney Company has selected a new commercial spokesperson by way of TikTok, and that person's name is Sean Alton.
Let's get dressed. Today, we're looking at the most iconic, most like me, is Minnie Mouse. And I love how bold of a red it is. It's just like Minnie. I'm thinking of layering a fun collar.
We've covered extensively here over the past year Disney's efforts into DEI, including booking the largest LGBTQ political action committee at Disney World for the next 2 years for their political conference. The first one coming this fall and the next one in 2024. But it seems we are entering a new territory, and Disney is not backing down from any of this DEI stuff.
Did you purposely match the red in that clip?
Did I? No, I did not.
Because it is your color.
So screaming, they need mental health assistance. And I feel like society has failed so many people. And it's really, that's where we're at right now.
Well, but I mean, again, to bring it back, the reason I played that is because it's not just relegated to gaming. It's Hollywood. It's everywhere. It's all these big companies all pushing the same thing in, the same ideology. And quite honestly, the same ideology that the American public, at least in general, has seemingly resoundingly rejected, especially if you look at just the recent election that we just had. People are tired of this. They're fed up with it. And you look at how they vote with their wallets. All of these games that are featuring this stuff, they're failing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that what we're seeing here, and we talked about this once before, game development is a really slow process.
Yep.
These guys, you're seeing stuff that was in the can in 2022.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody knows this isn't the moment anymore for this crap.
Well,
and everyone knows it.
Here's the other thing.
Jaguar.
The people in charge are still in charge, and they are the same people that are backing the decisions of 2020. And they haven't changed their mindset. Like, these are the same people in charge. So until they start actually revolving the employees that are in charge making decisions, nothing's going to actually change.
But here's the other thing to note, real quick. The other thing to note is that they have employed a parasitic technique over the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
When the BLM Summer of Love happened, and when the death of Mr. Floyd happened, what occurred was that these people who have nothing to do with the experiences, largely, of African Americans and African American communities, they lumped themselves together with that so that they could take that and turn it into what they want to do through the alphabet crowd. And so that goes into all this other stuff where you watch these videos and you see the people who, are walking through with the pasties on, right? And no one wants to see them. They're essentially attention starved. And so they'll do anything to gain attention. And in an age of cell phones and videos, they'll do whatever it takes so that they, talentless as they are, will manage to trend just by being so far out of the norm that it defies anybody's attention. And so the basic thing here is that these people who are developing such ugly things, they attach themselves to this other phenomenon in order to hijack it, in order to do this through corporations. Mm-hmm. It's totally manufactured. It has no support at the societal level in any kind of degree that would allow it to actually win. The marketplace condemns it. The political landscape is completely altered. And I think we're all going to heal from this. And you're going to have a time in 5-6 years when you look back at this kind of content and say, oh, that was when they went nuts. And I'm like, look, that's those ugly 2020s, the early 20s, man. They were an ugly time.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think people are going to look back at this and go, yeah, what were they doing? While you were talking about this, specifically from the video game industry, it'd be really interesting. I've said many, many times, I've never seen an industry so out of touch with its customers than the video game industry. Between the developers, the publishers, and the media, there's this giant chasm. And I would love to do just a Venn diagram of people who are decision makers in both the media as well as developers, people who have kids, and if they do have kids, do their kids have pronouns or have any sort of that, right? And kind of see where this lies up, because I would say that the vast majority of developers, let's start with media first. Media do not have children.
I was going to say most of them don't even have kids to answer the Venn diagram.
No, not at all. They don't have kids, so they don't. Them speaking about kids is obsolete.
But they do. Some of them do publicly state on Twitter that they are proud of having abortions. So
that is true. Good point. But,
some do.
Yeah. But and that's what I think speaks to the chasm. Like, that's the thing, is like, there are people who think that way that buy video games, right? If you go to a gaming convention, look around you, it's all over the place. You got pronouns and blue hair and girls wearing pasties, right? That is what it is. But that's not the only consumers out there. As a matter of fact, that's a small minority of consumer out there. yes, a lot of people physically go to those shows. They go to PAX, they go to MagFest, they go to these things. But those are your super hardcore Uber fans. And guess what? They're the most autistic. Like these people are the most crazy autistic people ever. And look, that's not a bad thing. But the reality is that there's a lot of people who are looking for something and they've clung to something. And guess what? The gaming space, I said this the other night, the gaming space it was the first to adopt it. It'll be the last to get rid of it. And that's something you need to understand, because you're talking about companies that are based in San Francisco, Seattle, run by mega woke people. And if you think they're gonna let go of it, you're in for another treat, man, because this is gonna be a long ride.
But Craig, I do want to make this point very briefly. Because of that, there are going to be winners inside the video game industry who will take all of the victory.
Saber Interactive comes to mind.
You look at Fortnite, you look at Marvel Rivals. Because of these other failures, the companies that decided that they're not going to go into the woke DEI, ESG stuff, they are conquering. Nintendo, although I know Nintendo had a slight stumble, but so many of these companies that decided not to do this, they will end up with all the spoils of victory from it.
I 100% agree. And I've said this many times, we will be getting into game development at Side Scrollers, like whether it's game development or game publishing. And we're not going in. That's the thing that people don't understand, is like, they're going to hear me say that and they go, you make some like super conservative or red, like F the woke people. No. It's just like, we want to make good games. That's it. That's all we want to do. Make good games.
Analogizing to the movies, guys, because I'm not a gamer and I don't know much about movies, but I know more about movies than I do know about games. Oppenheimer, right? Godzilla. What was it? Minus
one.
Yeah, Godzilla
-1. Yeah.
They went out. They made movies. They gave customers what they wanted, and they succeeded. And they are the winners.
Yeah,
that's it. They wrote good movies. They executed them well, made them efficiently, and did not try to inject modern politics for the modern audience into it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. Movies, entertainment, gaming, it's all the same thing. Everything now, with the new generation of storyteller or filmmaker or game developer, as it were, seems to want to use all of the goodwill that was built for generations before them, just thinks that they're entitled to leverage it to sell their new political message. They haven't had to earn anything. A lot of them are in positions without any merit or very little. We hear stories all the time, and all that in the entertainment side, the Hollywood side, but it's also in the gaming side. People get hired and they get promoted to positions that they have little to no experience for, or have nothing to really back it up. They're passing over people that have far more experience, that are far more proven, but they don't fit the racial, sexual, gender profile that is being set at the top at the corporate level for hiring and promotion, whether it's Disney or a game studio. And then they wind up with this hodgepodge of like, yeah, we're going to take this $1 billion intellectual property called Assassin's Creed, or we're going to take this $1 billion intellectual property, that is Naughty Dog Studios and all the goodwill they built, and think, hey, we've reached a point now where we can take all this goodwill and we can try to change society or find the modern audience. This is quite literally what the Walt Disney Company did, or really Kathleen Kennedy's idea to do with Star Wars. We all know how that worked, right? We don't want to cater to the old men anymore. This is for the new generation. They ain't there. They all left. They're gone.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.